Hi, this is Rich and Charlie with the Operation Legacy Light to My Path coaching series, and today we're talking about exercise 12, analysis tools.
Thank you, Rich. On page 196, when you think about analysis tools, there are many tools that you can use to analyze either problems or come up with creative ideas. But we're going to mention just two that are very basic. When we talk about brainstorming, there are many ways that you can brainstorm, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, in your transition process, and it doesn't make any difference where you are. You can use brainstorming. So we're going to read just one caption under brainstorming. List all the related elements of the problem. That is, if you're trying to solve the problem. You can use this to create better and new solutions, but right now we're talking about problems. Do not make judgments on these ideas that are coming forth. The objective is to create a large list. Once you have a large list, you can begin zeroing in ideas on the solutions.
So you're resisting the temptation, Charlie, to draw a conclusion, to judge something. If you're doing this with a group of people, you say anything goes. You just go around and people throw out ideas. They can be really crazy too, because sometimes that jars the thinking of the other person. We did an exercise where we took a paper clip and we said, how many uses can you come up with this paper clip? People start scratching their head, and then someone starts saying, well, other than a paper clip, I can open it up and it can be a pin. Can punch a hole. Someone said, oh, it can hang an ornament on a Christmas tree. And then someone said, I can make jewelry out of it. And the next thing you know, people are brainstorming ideas, solutions. A team of people can come up with over 100 uses for a paper clip.
Right. Thank you, Rich. One of the other cautions about brainstorming is there's such a thing called as groupthink. And what that simply means, and it's easy to understand, if you're in a setting that you have, let's say, multiple people, 5, 10, 20 people, and if Rich said something, then my response would be something very akin to what Rich said, and it goes on down the line. And that omits the creativity and the isolated ideas. So groupthink are like dominoes, metaphorically speaking, is you touch one and everything else is about the same. That's what you do not want.
So you want to make sure your thinking is broad. If you're brainstorming yourself, you're going to sit down and you're going to really take the time to be creative. And if you're solving a problem, you want to say, what are all the different ways I can look at this problem? What are all the different paths I could take? What are all the different solutions I could take? And if you're getting stuck or not really sure what to go, you can ask other people, because everybody has a different perspective on a situation, on a life problem or an issue or an opportunity. We really like to think of it as opportunities for overcoming problems and issues and obstacles.
Right. Thank you, Rich. One of the other things is that when you're brainstorming, whether it's yourself coming up with these ideas, don't judge whether they're a good idea or a bad idea. Do not do that. As well as when you're in a group, don't judge, because sometimes it's easy to judge. If you're in a group setting, the worst thing that you can do is say, Rich, you know what, that was a stupid idea. Charlie, that was a stupid idea, because it shuts people down. So be very careful.
And don't think your ideas are stupid either. You need to build up, because God created us in His image, and I don't think God is stupid, so we're not stupid. And then once you have your list of all the potential solutions or ways to overcome an obstacle, then you can start analyzing them, you can start prioritizing them, putting them in rank order, putting them in different categories. So now you can begin to narrow down some of the actual steps you want to try to go forward. And again, remember, plan A, plan B, plan C. You don't just have to pick one and think it's all or nothing. You can pick 2 or 3, prioritize them, weight them based on what's important to you or what's important to the situation, and then go ahead and plug it into the problem-solving process that we covered in the previous exercise, and then you can learn as you go. And also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Would you like to touch on that, Charlie?
Yeah, thank you, Rich. One of the things that we talk about when you're coming up with some brainstorming ideas, whether it's a problem or whether it's something that is working and you want to improve it, you can use this brainstorming either way. Keep an open mind. to anything that you're facing, any obstacle, whether it's small or large. What they've said about the mind is that it works like a parachute. It works best when it's open. So especially when you're trying to solve or come up with solutions, let's say it that way, you have a situation and you need a better solution. Brainstorming is important, but also get down to the root cause. And the other tool is called 5 whys. When you ask why about 5 or 6 times, but typically it's 5, you'll get down to the root cause. If it is a problem you're facing, be careful not to start addressing and trying to work on the solution for a symptom of the real problem. A symptom is something on the surface. And if you don't dig deeper and deeper to get to the root cause, you might be going on a different journey and you may not come up with the best solution.
That's right. So here's a quick example. Charlie, I keep going to work late. I don't know how I do it, but I'm always late to work. Well, why are you late to work? What's the first thing? Let's backtrack your steps. Well, my alarm clock doesn't always go off. Oh, really? Well, why doesn't your alarm clock always go off? Well, I don't know if there's something wrong with it, but I really don't know how to set it. I think I do, but I've never really checked. Oh, well, why don't you know how to set it? Have you read the owner's manual? Well, no, I have not looked at the owner's manual. I'm just a button pusher, and I just think I can figure it out. Okay, so, maybe you need to look at the owner's manual, and right there, you actually may have had that problem solved. You go back to the manual, you find out how to set the clock, and then you can put that into practice and see if that works.
Exactly.
So a real simple example.
And thank you for that, Rich. Yeah, when it also comes to brainstorming, as you're going through the book, on page 198, you've got some space and some exercises on both brainstorming and 5 whys. And again, these are just 2 basic tools. There are many, many other ways that you can solve problems as we go through the book.
Yeah, so as you're trying out your brainstorm items and you're asking the 5 whys, one thing we'd like to point out again is about making mistakes and why that's okay. Well, one of the common things that the most successful people in the world have done is make mistakes and have failures. If you read the biographies and you find out where they've been, they don't view mistakes as failures. They don't view failures as a reason to quit. They view that as a learning opportunity. Right. From our mistakes and failures, you analyze why there was a mistake and a failure, and you can learn from that, and then you take that learning and you move forward and you do better the next time. But successful people just use failures and mistakes as stepping stones toward a higher goal.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Rich. And also on page 198, I just thought of something that Rich just said. In the last paragraph in that little box in here, and you'll see it when you're going through the book on page 198, a strong and compelling vision of the future will help override any mistake, failure, or temporary setback. So as you're making this transition, we mentioned earlier and have mentioned in the past in other exercises, your future has got to be so compelling that it's like a magnet drawing you to it. So any of the problems that you've got right now, flip the coin over and look at them as opportunities to come up with some great solutions.
That's right. So in closing, ask yourself these questions. Do I have a tendency to jump to conclusions or immediately try to fix problems without thinking through them? Can I step back from the situation and look at a root cause? Do I have the patience to ask why 3 or 4 or 5 times? Can I wait for the Lord to give me guidance and a path forward?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So with that in mind, we do encourage you to meditate through these exercises in the workbook. Really put the time into journaling and reflection. Right now, you might want to go back and review some of the earlier chapters, some of the earlier tools and techniques you've learned, because now they're building all into the culmination of a really great life plan. So thank you for joining us. Come on back. We're going to be getting into exercise 13, which talks about learning and education. And God bless you on your journey. Take care, and don't forget to pass it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, and more to come.